皆さん、こんにちは。今日は素敵なドライブがしたい気分ですか？風を髪に受けながら景色を楽しんだり、ここではその代わりに私たちがあなたを高速のアクションにお連れする準備万端です。マッハ555の話題でね。
Hey everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama, welcome to our podcast.
We're going back in the fast-paced world of Speed Racer one more time as we discuss the live-action theatrical movie.
This movie originally came out in 2008 and starred Emile Hirsch as Speed, Christina Ricci as Trixie, John Goodman as Pop Racer, and many more stars.
While this movie didn't do well at the theaters, we absolutely loved it. So let's go,
go! And once again, thank you, Yuli, for your awesome intro for this video. We thank you for doing the intro for our Speed Racer trilogy this summer.
Yes.
Yes, I love this movie. I don't care what anyone said. I loved it. And the good thing is I was able to get it for $3 because no one bought it. The bad thing is I was able to get it for $3 on Amazon because no one bought it.
Right. But nowadays I am seeing that even though it did not do well then, it was considered a bad movie. Nowadays, as the years went on, I said now it's considered underrated or a cult classic film now. Because a lot of people actually do enjoy it now. I think now that we're the fact that, we're over the fact that, it's not what it looked like and stuff. But now people are enjoying it. Like, it's kind of late now because now they can't do the sequel because of what happened when it came out.
Right. The only good news is Emile Hirsch is voicing Jim in Troll Hunters.
Right.
Christina Ricci still gets movie works. John Goodman does also, as well as doing a series on ABC. Mm-hmm. And, all the stars who are in there are getting consistent work. But I think the problem for most people when they saw the trailer of this movie, it presented it as being something else. It presented it as being serious. But this movie was like a carbon copy of the actual 60s television series. And if you knew that, then you got the movie itself. And it was awesome and amazing. It was just brightly done, full color, great action scenes. It was just an awesome tribute to this original series.
Right. And, yeah, when I watched the trailer myself, it's okay. What are they saying is not what they expect. I watched the trailer. You look like you were getting, like, a Fast and Furious style movie. Mm-hmm. And then you watch the movie, and it's just off the walls. But the joke was, in the movie, everyone was serious, but everything else wasn't. Right. But they were taking the silly stuff seriously in their world, and that was the humor in it.
Right.
And some people just didn't get that.
Right. It was great. I know you said at one point they were going to do a sequel, but it was canceled after the dismal performance at the box office.
Right, and then plus there were like lawsuits and stuff, so that really hurt them as well.
Well, tell us more about the lawsuits.
Well, there was one thing that really came a lot where they had an actual monkey do Chim Chim. It wasn't just CGI or anything, and there were reports that there were animal abuse going on behind the scenes, and one of the monkeys bit the kid actors, so they kept having to change monkeys over and over. They did something that caused them to bite back, and that got in trouble with the animal, Animal Rights Association, and then there was others about for the rights for Speed Racer, and it was just it's just a collage of different things that unfortunately the movie couldn't really pay for because of what happened at the box office. So for paying if they lost, then that's what happened. And unfortunately that hindered, like I said, it going any further because we could have gotten another movie or two to continue the story because of how the movie ends, and possibly a third season for Next Generation. Couldn't gotten another reboot by now.
Well, they could have just not used a real monkey. They could have used a CGI if that were the case.
Right, nothing had to deal with people saying, that looks stupid.
Right, that was easy to handle. So that for me was a poor excuse for not making the other movies and TV series that were to come out. I just think it's, as you said, it's underrated, it's misunderstood. It's a fantastic movie, and I'm really glad we got it for $3 because we never would have watched it. And it's just excellent, and it's not again what it was painted to be in the commercial. So if you just go into it with an open mind and just watch it for what it is, you will see the similarities, the really, really big similarities to the series, and how they were just creating a live action version of the original show. And it works. It really works.
It kept true to the original content. And that was always fun because you see how serious they acted in the show, and they act so serious in this movie. You know, everything around them is like wacky and crazy, but they're just taking everything just like so seriously. So at least everybody was a good actor when they played their roles.
Definitely,
no complaints there.
Yeah. Also, Susan Sarandon was in here too, which I really love her.
And the music was actually really good as well. Yes. And they had the Go Speed Racer Go music at the end of the movie. And of course they had him do the signature pose. It was slightly different because of how they had to animate him coming off the car.
Right.
But he was doing his signature move when he jumped out of the car. I was like, he did the move!
Right. I think the action, the racing scenes were incredible. And you said about Fast and Furious, but the racing scenes here were better than Fast and Furious.
The racing, yeah, because they had quite a few races in there, and they weren't just standard like go around here, but they looked like they were from a video game, and they had all these different colors and patterns, obstacles. People would crash, and of course,
just really high speed.
Yeah,
I mean, really high speed.
Right, and it's no wonder because it's made by the Wachowskis who made the Matrix trilogy.
Yes, they're awesome. And what I really like too is they did, as the original cartoon did, you would see the racing action, and then you would see them go to the car and show you the drivers in the cars, and you have the shots. And it was almost like watching also a live action Speed Racer The Next Generation in terms of the racing scenes. It was just really great.
And of course they brought in, Racer X and that stupid mystery. And they actually got you on a part of it where who you think Racer X is. And then you're like, wait a minute, that's not what happened in the show.
Right.
So it kind of catches you off guard. Like, wait a minute, that's not what happened. But how are you doing that? But you'll get your answer when you watch it. But it's hilarious how they did because they've been so faithful to it so far. Having them switch it around like that was hilarious and clever, especially for the hardcore Speed Racer fans. They're like, wait a minute, that's not what you did. And they're like, oh.
Definitely. And I think what was pretty neat, too, is we know it was originally a Japanese animation. But you had John Goodman playing Pop, Susan Sarandon playing Mom, and Christina Ricci, as you said, playing Trixie, and all these American actors doing an American version of the Japanese animation.
Right.
I thought that was a brilliant twist.
I did too, and apparently I did not know this till like recently. That was another issue they had with the movie, kind of like what with Last Airbender and with the Dragon Ball movie, and that is when they change it altogether rather than to find the people that look like the characters and are from the same country as the characters.
Well, for me, that's a moot point here for several reasons. One, it was an American-produced production. It wasn't done in Japan or by a Japanese company.
That's correct.
So clearly they weren't interested in doing live action. Number two, they got actors that were well known here that they knew would bring in the box office draw if the movie were good enough. Unfortunately, that didn't work. But everyone who was in this movie except for Emile Hirsch, we were familiar with and knew, and they felt familiar and like old friends you were watching in the movie. Number three, probably the American company. Do you know who was the company that did it?
I think part of it was Warner Brothers, and this was like the same co-company that did Fred Claus. I'm sorry, I don't know the name. I just remember this weird little symbol.
These two companies would not have done it with an all Japanese cast or with an all Asian cast. I guarantee you they wouldn't have done it because in their minds, which isn't true for us, because people who are in animation, you don't think about those things. They probably were thinking, well, if we do this way, we're not going to get a lot of people that want to see it. We won't have a lot of big names, which we know is just untrue for all the voiceover actors and many actors we see and love. So that's just, from my point of view, they saw it as a liability to do that. I like the version that they did, and I wouldn't mind if they did another version and did it with an all Japanese cast. That would be awesome too. All I would care is a Speed Racer, and we get to see some other form of this show and show us some love and pay it homage. It wouldn't matter to me either way. I thought this movie was a really great attempt at bringing this to another generation, people who weren't familiar with it, people who were, giving us a taste of what we missed, and staying true to the original concept of the cartoon.
Yeah, and for what they did, they really were very faithful. I know sometimes they be considered a bad adaptation, but you think about it, it's not. They had a good cast. It still stuck to the story of the original. They just kind of spread it out into a bit of an espionage, which the original had anyway, with all these kooky villains there. The only thing I thought was strange, they aged up the friend that was the mechanic. He wasn't a kid anymore. He was like their uncle or a full-grown man that just couldn't do much. I thought that was strange, but other than that, nothing really upset me about the movie. Nothing felt like, oh, why did they do that? Cast was good, plot was good, stuck to the original, music was great, visuals were great. Love they had a cameo by the original Speed Racer, and it was a very entertaining movie. I found really nothing wrong with it.
Exactly. And another thing that you mentioned about, we also have to remember, this was before Marvel and DC began doing multiverse or changing the characters, updating them, so to speak. Now it's become commonplace for movies to be done with a change in actors from the original concept or the original book concept, or just to do an all minority cast or something. That's nothing different now. So back when this was done, that could have been a concern. But now to do different versions and adapt and put a different spin on the characters and the original concept, and no one's going, oh, well, that's this, that, and the other, because they're taking, they're just doing a different version or adding some variety to the cast. And now, again, it's commonplace. I mean, let's just take one example for the TV show, The Flash. The Flash, Iris and Wally are different from the comic book. And other characters that come on there were different as well. You had... well, I'll just stop there. But you get the idea that this is something that's done commonly now. And no one bats an eye now. You just all you care is the actor does a great job, that the story's good, that the TV show or the movie's good. That's all that you care. You could care less about whom they're casting in terms of race or nationality or creed or sexual orientation. You don't care. You just want to see something that's great and that leaves you happy when you finish watching it.
And I want to bring
maybe, I'm sorry to cut in one more time, maybe it was just ahead of its time.
Fact, that could be it, because when you think about Last Airbender, and like that one is like a bad memory, and I think everyone's
shouldn't even be in the same category with this movie. This movie was actually good.
Everyone's afraid of what happened like at Last Airbender and Dragon Ball. They think the same thing for here.
But they didn't just change the race of the characters. They changed the characters. They weren't the same characters. They changed the storyline. It was just an awful movie. Why'd you make me go there? Speed Racer, the movie, was in a totally different category. When you see it, you'll understand it's in no way like Airbender. I understand the concerns, and I agree with that, but they just took the characters and made them unrecognizable, and not even the ones that we loved in the Airbender live action. But Speed Racer stuck to the original concept.
That's true. And I have to bring this up because this is another anime. We had finished watching a series called Tiger and Bunny, and they announced that they're going to do a live action movie. And they put up this cast on the website when they announced they were working on it officially, and they had all these people playing different people, and some of them weren't really choices we would think were good. And for one, for Kotetsu, they kept picking people that just didn't fit, and these were all fans. These weren't official picks from the studios. They were all people like Robert Downey Jr., Johnny Depp, what's that guy's name from Rush Hour again? Kenji? Or something.
Kenji,
yeah, and
Tom Cruise.
They want all these people to play this guy, And what I thought was weird were either they didn't look anything like the character, or they were like twice as old as the character, and I couldn't figure out like why you keep having these type of people play this type of character. Are you saying that's what he looks like, or what?
They were just going with people that they like. But when I want to see an adaptation to a movie, I want to see characters that are in the same age range as the ones that we watch in the animated series. And yes, although they were picking these actors and they're great actors, they are just way above the age of the characters in the show. The oldest one is Wild Tiger, who is in his 30s, and the others are all in their 20s, and some of them are teenagers. So you can't have Tom Cruise playing a teenager.
That's right.
You know, no matter how good he looks, Tom Cruise playing a teenager in this adaptation would just be wrong.
Right.
So, yeah, I think a lot of times people just pick, you know, whom they like or whom they think looks like the character, and they really don't pay attention to how it's going to translate to the original. And unless their plan is to maybe do a version with all older cast, which then it's not the same show.
Right. And my final thoughts on the movie is I think they just did a great job altogether. Story, keeping true to the original concept, shout out for fans, good actors playing the characters, great visual effects and action, lots of drama like the original, and just all around a great movie. And I do think it is very underrated.
Bit and Deadly, this is one you definitely would want to check out.
Oh yeah, I think you like this. Yeah, kind of think of it as Motor City, like if Mike was Speed Racer.
So that's it. We hope that you will go on Amazon, and it's still available for between $3 and $5.
And they have it on I think they have it on Netflix too.
If it's on Netflix, take a look. You'll be really pleasantly surprised, and you'll wonder what all of the complaining was about once you see just how great this movie actually is.
Right. So, I'm Rascal Entertainment.
And I'm Mama Entertainment.
Have a toontastic day.
Peace. And Yuli, thank you so much for supporting us. Visit her channel. You'll see her link come up in her card. She's got an awesome YouTube channel where she reads excerpts from Japanese stories, and she also sings with her beautiful voice, and her stories are backed by another friend of ours, Music Johnny Easton. So check it out. Peace.
Speed racers, slow down.
And reporters sitting flashing lights.